Hello everybody, I'm going to be doing an informative speech on Mount Everest. Some really cool key things that we could focus on talking about this: the height, weather, you know, the thrill of going up there, all the good stuff like that. Main point for right now, when we start, is going to be weather. Now, the weather up in Everest is chaotic, constantly changing. Sometimes you can't predict it, but some of our weather systems that are up there actually are kind of on point. Due into an academic journal, the highest or the lowest it's up there is negative 76 degrees, and the winds are as high as 175 miles per hour. Which, if you think about that, it's crazy. You could probably have a little kid in a little kite suit, and he'd be taken straight off the mountain. Insane, is it right? But you would never do that because we're humans and we do that to somebody. Besides that, when we look at this picture, I know you can't see it, but my audience can see this kind of well. There is a wall of ice covering the top side of this mountain, and there's a lower team on the bottom half of the mountain. Reason for this: people up here are actually helping to figure out the weather and trying to get best communication overall, since there are stations up there to tell others that are lower, such as Camp 3. They have a weather station up there, or a small one, to help figure out weather is before Camp 1 or Camp 2 decides to go on their journey up there. People down at the lower half are the Sherpas and the people, the team leaders, to help people and to lead or take them up there safely. And obviously their priority is first because they're the people that have the most experience going up and down this entire day thing. Let's look a little bit more into this. The height. Now, Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. From an academic journal, we have, it is the highest mountain on Earth. With that being in mind, that's pretty crazy. All the mountains you could think of, and this one, the singular one, just topples over all of them. The highest building you think you've been in, it's not that high compared to this thing. Let's go a little further into this. You can see even here, we have a hiker, probably a Sherpa because he's by himself, or he has another person with him focusing on this. You can see here, this is the trophosphere, or they're really close to it and entering it. That's just how high it is. It's insane. Now, with that being said, there's also another academic journal for this, for the people that were actually up there. In 1999, Americans climbed using GPS measurements to figure out and measure the mountain to be 29,035 feet, which is crazy. If you convert that to football fields, that's about 93 football fields. Pretty intense. Life-threatening. A lot of this stuff here is really dangerous. Hiking up there without the proper team or equipment will lead to death. And there is a lot of ice. It's very slippery, very cold, lack of oxygen. You are bound to die if you don't have the proper equipment or training. Here's another picture of it. There's a man climbing on a ladder, or I forget what they call them, but these things are help them to cross crevasses that are in the mountain that they would need to cross it, and they have some strings on it that actually help them cross it, like a lot easier in more ways. But yeah, as you can see here, there's actually a man falling off it because it's sliding out. Yeah. Here we have another picture. There's a group of people that are climbing up the Sherpa, obviously at the front, leading the team, and team leaders separated between each person so nothing happens and everyone's on the same page, and oxygen-wise and footing-wise. With that being said, this is very dangerous because sometimes if a Sherpa loses a step or something falls down, he can't hit another person, and can lead to a very disastrous situation, which a lot of them would want to avoid at times. Now, with that also being said, the first ascension of this mountain from a book was done on May 29, 1953 by an American. Now, this man did it all by himself, well, not by himself, with the help of other people that are around or near this region they had a genetic that helped them climb this a lot easier than how we can climb it with all the gear we have to wear. As you see here, he's wearing very rugged gear, not very up to date at all because of the time. It was 1953, well, for him. So it is kind of crazy to think how he able to climb that with just standard kind of issue gear like that. Speaking of gear, look at this. We have a bunch of things. You can't see it that well, but my audience can see it clearly, and it's amazing. All this is for extreme wind, extreme cold, for sleeping, for climbing, extra wire, extra rope, hooks, and all that good stuff to make sure nothing falls, and for extra security at all times. Here we have a man standing next to about 53 oxygen tanks that are meant for people that climb up there, and little some reserves just in case, you know, anything can happen up there in Camp 1 and Camp 2, or Camp 3 too. Besides that, there is a lot of trash up there. Mountains. Well, not mountains of trash, but just a lot from previous expeditions. From an academic journal, the trash used equipment from more than 100 expeditions are left on this mountain. From that to bodies to other things such as that. There's a lot of trash, bodies, things like that he's found. It's kind of crazy. Now, wrapping this whole thing up, Mount Everest is a wonderful art piece that we are very gifted and lucky to have, and we are able to climb it every so often with only proper guidance from an actual guide, a Sherpa, or team leader. Depending on the amount of years and time and training they've had, you should be good to go whenever you feel like it. It does cost quite a bit though, and it does involve risking your life. So if you feel like taking that chance, go right ahead.